thank you for that very nice introduction. I wrote a real speech, but I don't think I'm going to use it because my colleagues from the Westchester Community College touched on what is needed here. So I would hate to be redundant, but I did want to just formally welcome everyone here, and I wanted to say that this is a huge honor for Libby to be hosting this year's conference, and we're very happy to be here. We have some big shoes to fill because our colleagues from the Westchester Community College certainly put on a good show last year, so we took great pains to make sure that we put together a program equally as engaging and enjoyable for you, so I hope you continue to enjoy yourself for the remainder of the time. I wanted to also thank Robert Danilo and the president of the Northeast Area Colleges, and Scott. Okay. Thank you for everything that you have done to make this possible, and for guiding us, and for all of your great ideas, and thank you for keeping us on track. It's actually, in a way, it wasn't so difficult, not to diminish what we did, but we were very lucky in many ways because the theme of the conference is so timely and so appropriate in the current economic climate, that it was almost, it begged to be discussed. So now, just personally, when I heard President Obama's speech back in February of 2009, he lauded what we do and said, "Oh, it's wonderful for secondary education as a priority for this country." It was great to hear that, and I said, "Well, wonderful. Somebody actually is recognizing publicly what it is that we do so well." But what followed was really something that most of us are now really struggling with. 2020 is coming very, very soon, and we have to educate 50% more Americans with some sort of a college credential. That's a very big responsibility to fall on a handful of two-year colleges. We're talking a lot about, we know we have to enroll and educate more Americans, but the goals get bigger and the pressure grows stronger as the federal government reminds us that it is serious about holding colleges and universities accountable for their performance. So we spend a lot of time, the pressure is mounting, we spend a lot of time about how will we measure the student learning outcomes. All our conversations revolve around outcomes. We discuss benchmarks, college readiness courses, remedial courses, faster pathways to degrees and credentials. I don't know about you, but we're having those discussions by our water cooler. It's really something that it's almost, you can't read the concept of education anymore without somebody crying about having to raise tuition, about having to cut jobs, and yet to rise to a higher standard. But this isn't anything new. For the past decade, 2 decades at least, we've had a lot of regulations come our way that have put our industry at crossroads, and we've had a lot of regulations that have changed what we do, and will continue to change what we do. Our next speaker, Dr. King, is going to discuss, she's actually uniquely qualified to give us a historical context of the regulatory environment of higher education. Can you hear me, everyone? Sorry. Dr. King has recently retired from the New York State Department of Education, where she works with post-secondary colleges across the public and the private sector, including our college. Dr. King also served as staff for the New York State Board of Regents. And Dr. King's education and academic credentials include a PhD in sociology from State University of New York at Albany, a Master's of Science in Counselor Education from the State University of New York College, and an AD in sociology from New York State University. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. King to the podium. Please welcome Dr. King.
Thank you. I'm going to tell you from the beginning. I'm not going to really talk about what's in the book. As I started working on this paper, I'm an academic, although I was a bureaucrat. I still think of it as, an academic presentation. I had to go to the library, and it was kind of interesting because I haven't been in the library, in a research library, as a user in 12 years. I've been in libraries all the time because it was part of my job. But using the library, it was a unique experience for me. I was able to get a library card as an alumni from the university, and as a retired state employee, I also get a library card from the state library. Well, everybody has the same thing, but depending on what kind of library card you have, you get different kinds of access. So in order to look at the things I wanted to look at online, I had to do one set of looking at the university and another set of looking at the state library if I wanted to do it remotely. So it's been a very interesting experience. So anyway, as I started looking for information in terms of what I was going to talk about initially, and of course, again, I'll say as a sociologist, you always have to have a context. So that's what I said. I realized that what I was going to talk about was really not that interesting. So if I didn't find it interesting, I didn't think you would find it interesting. So I'll back up a little bit and say when Donna invited me, I said, me? What would I tell this audience about two-year colleges? Mainly because I did not work with community colleges in any of my jobs in higher education. And so it was like, okay, community colleges. Which is also kind of a problem because when anybody says two-year colleges, you almost immediately think of community colleges, which is the trap I fell into. But then I said to myself, you work with proprietary two-year colleges, you work with ag and technical colleges, and you work with independent junior colleges. So maybe you do know something about two-year colleges. So when Monica came back to me again, I said, okay, I can at least think about this as nothing more than an intellectual exercise. So, when I started doing my research, and it sounds like the things that you all have been talking about are the things that I began to find interesting, in that there seems to be a lot of issues that when I sat in the state education department, that as a member of the bureaucracy, as a policymaker, as a regulatory body, these were not issues that we really talked about, although they were there and kind of niggly. And I don't know if I put together a whole bunch of sort of, I'll call it miscellaneous information about two-year colleges. And some of it, I guess, maybe I'll continue to share with you, just to make sure that, in a sense, we're all using the same sort of basic information. Two-year colleges offer opportunities for further education, mainly academic programs, or training for immediate employment, job training, initial employment, retraining, including both baccalaureate retraining. Two-year colleges also provide remedial, developmental, and continuing education programs, and this is a particular hallmark of the community colleges. And one of the things that I read, which I thought was kind of interesting, was that one of the roles that was being